Joining us right now is the head coach of our Los Angeles Rams, Coach Sean McVay. Coach, how you doing, man?
Doing good. How you guys doing?
We're doing great, Sean. I'm going to start with a weird one. I know you don't believe in moral victories. You've talked to us about it before, that this is the NFL. You either win or you don't. But I thought your team played incredibly well under the circumstances in Detroit. I thought that, I don't know what you were down to by the end of the game. I think you were down to your third or fourth string left tackle, and somehow you guys figured out a way to move the ball. And if you pick up that late first down, I actually felt pretty good about the Rams and the way they played at the end of that game. When you addressed the team, did you have any of that in you, or is a loss and that's it?
No, I don't think it's an all or nothing thing. I was really proud of the way that we overcame, the way that we demonstrated mental and physical toughness. You're down 17-3 against a great opponent like that with some of the parameters that we were faced with, whether it be the injuries or, some of the different circumstances, just being on the road and to reel off 17 straight to go up 20-17 with 4.5 left. There's no doubt I was proud of the group. And I think our guys, the way they're wired, they know there was opportunities to be able to finish that game. We didn't. But I'm with you in terms of, it's about progress and focusing on the things that we can control. And we came up short against a good opponent, but there's definitely things that we can take from that game that we need to consistently apply and want to see us continue to improve throughout the year. And there's things that we can control, things that we can't. But I think my mindset and mentality has changed. Don't get me wrong. I want to try to go win, and nobody's more competitive than I am. But I think you want to take it with the right perspective so that these guys can understand, how do we progress? How do we focus on that process to progress? And I thought they did that. And those were some unique circumstances without a doubt. And the guys didn't flinch.
Take me through, Coach. First half, 4th and 4, their territory. You elected to go for it. I texted the guys here and said, "Boy, that doesn't feel like the kind of move Sean McVay would make." What was going through your head at that point?
Oh, I love the matchup. We got the look that we wanted. We just came up short on a little hitch to the short field and against with one of our best players. And so it didn't go down, but we went in to win the game, and we were going to be aggressive, and we were going to try to play. We came up short against those guys last time in the playoffs because we didn't score touchdowns. We kicked too many field goals. Felt good about the 4th and 4 call. I would do it 100%, 100 times over again. And it just didn't go down, but felt really good. And that was, part of the process. And, it didn't work out, but I wouldn't change that at all.
Sean McVay, the head coach of the Rams, is with us. Sean, you mentioned that last year in the playoff game, in the 1-point loss, you guys had trouble getting touchdowns when you got into the red zone. That came up again in the first half of this game. What's the challenge there when you guys get close to the goal line? Obviously, it's harder to score because they have you boxed in. But what do you think the challenges are to get over this red zone issue?
I don't think we have a red zone issue. I think, we had one play that we ended up turning the ball over on an uncharacteristic decision that, we like that opportunity to be able to convert on some different things there. Thought, we converted a touchdown and we had a silly holding call on another one that we had to settle for a field goal. And then we had the situation where we were in the fringe area that we came up short on the 4th down. So I think each situation is its own individual entity. Against them the last time, I didn't like some of the positions that I put our guys in. And then the other day, I think there was some things that, I always look at myself first and foremost, but then, there's opportunities to execute, and sometimes it doesn't go down for you, and we got to be able to keep it moving. But I don't believe for a second we have red zone issues.
So it looks like you guys have signed 3 offensive linemen this week, plus Akila Witherspoon, who was on this team last year. Talk about sort of integrating everybody. Do those guys factor week 1? How long does it take for those guys to factor in?
Yeah, it's pretty unprecedented, the situation that we're dealing with relative to our offensive line injuries. And so we were already down our 2 starting tackles. We lost the guard. We lost another tackle. And then before you know it, and we had actually had another injury to a tackle that was supposed to be up. So it was pretty crazy. But, these are the situations that you have to be able to deal with if injuries do occur. So we brought in 3 players. Ty Nseki's a guy that we're familiar with. He was here with us a couple years ago. We brought in Jaron Christian, who started a handful of games at tackle for the Browns and played at a high level. And then Dylan from Philadelphia, he's done a really good job. He was a guy we liked coming out of NC State. And so to be able to get him, part of that is a development for the future. Some of the roster spots that we had available because we placed Joe Noteboom and Steve Avila on injured reserve, and then being able to bring Akello back is a reflection of being able to get him back. He played good football for us last year. Darius is on IR, and Jacoby Durant's a little bit banged up, and so he's a really good player, and to be able to get him in here is good for us.
I know, Sean, that in overtime your defense was a little gassed and Detroit was able to get the ball down the field. But if you would have told me the defense was going to play like that in their first game without Aaron Donald, I would have taken that. How did you feel about the defense overall?
Same as you. I was really proud. I thought they played really well. I thought they earned a bunch of stops. Thought they played physical. They pursued to the football. You mentioned it. There was a couple missed tackles in that last drive, but that's a great offense. I got a ton of respect for those guys in Detroit, what they do personnel-wise, what they do schematically. They really are checking all the boxes of a good offense in terms of personnel, scheme, quarterback that can be able to get all his playmakers involved. And I thought we held our own and competed well. Obviously didn't end the way we wanted, but I was proud of the group. I think it's something we can build on. And based on the way they've approached training camp in the offseason, I wasn't surprised, and I'm looking forward to watching them continue to grow and play even better against a great challenge this week in Arizona.
Coach, by my count, you are, as a coach and as the Rams organization, you've beaten Arizona. You're 13-2, I think, in your last 15, if that sounds correct. You've played really well against them. Last time you played, Kyron Williams ran for 143 yards. Is there is there a recipe there that you're going to repeat?
I think each game's its own entity, and this is a really well-coached team. They've got new players. They do a great job schematically. They've always been really good on teams. So, those are great. Those were great memories, but it's about how we apply our work this week and how we figure it out, because there's a lot of new faces for us, and we got to do a great job getting ready to go and play well in that window that we're allotted on Sunday.
Do you worry about a rookie like Marvin Harrison Jr., who's obviously got a ton of talent, but you don't have any NFL tape on him other than that game last week in Buffalo, and they played pretty well. Do you account for a rookie or not so much?
Oh, yeah. No, you got a ton of respect for him and his body of work, his resume. We're very familiar with him from his tape at Ohio State. He obviously earned the merit in terms of the praise he gets, and then, when he was drafted. So he's a factor. One game certainly doesn't dictate anything in terms of, with him only having one catch. He's a big-time guy. We need to be aware of him and know where he's at all times, and he's definitely part of the plan.
Expected to see Blake Corum at some point on Sunday. I know he was out on special teams, but Ronnie Rivers got some additional carries. Where is Blake Corum now in terms of his development and in terms of when you expect him to contribute?
He's doing a good job. The way that game unfolded based on the injuries, there was a very what we were going to do and what we had to do was very different just based on some of those injuries that we sustained and how that forced us to alter and adjust in real time. And so where you went with some of those guys that have been here. Blake's a stud. He's going to be a factor for us. When that is, I can't tell you, but I know that he's going to continue to work, and he's going to have a real bright future here.
Last thing, your first-round draft pick this year was Jared Verse. He had a really, really good debut. He had 7 quarterback pressures and a sack. Talk about his contribution and the fact that you're getting contribution from younger guys now.
Yeah, I think he's a grown man. I thought he played really well, and I thought his work, his body of work throughout the offseason into training camp and some of the joint practices, I thought it translated to the way that he performed against an excellent opponent on Sunday night. And so how do we move forward? How do we continue to progress? But I was really pleased with Jared, but I don't think I was surprised because of the expectations that he's earned and the way that he goes about his work.
All right, Sean, before we let you go, how's Jordan doing? How do you like being a dad? Are we walking and talking yet?
No, he's talking. He's talking. He's moving around. He's not quite walking yet, but he flies around in his little walker, and he's pulling himself up, and he sure keeps me happy when I get pissed off because of some of the different things that this job entails. So
that's
thank
great.
God for him.
Yeah. Well, it's great to hear